Hello everyone. Every once in a while, a feature comes along that really moves the needle for you guys and all of your clients. This is one of those features, so please stick around. The most important thing in marketing is having a strong call to action. Inertia is real. People generally want to keep scrolling. They don't want to stop and do something. If you want people to take action on your posts, you have to ask them to do it and do it in a bold way. And we are helping you guys do that with such ease. I can't wait to show this to you. But before we jump right in and show you this new feature called Call to Action Groups, I do want to talk a little bit about why this is super, super important. A lot of people think that their newsfeed, like let's take their Facebook page, for example, is where the battle is fought. They have to keep it manicured, looking beautiful. And while that's very important, the most important thing is what happens with the posts in that news feed. You want that to go everywhere and you want it to make an impact. So I want you to think of things a little differently. Most people aren't going to your news feed and reading all of your posts. Chances are they're seeing your posts in their news feed. So stop thinking of your newsfeed as where the battle is fought. Think of your newsfeed as the army barracks where all of your troops are. And you want to arm those troops with the strongest weaponry possible. So when they are deployed by Facebook in all of these different feeds, that's where the battle is fought. You don't want to send your troops out without any weapons or they're not going to do well. The number one weapon you can arm them with is a really bold and strong call to action. So don't be afraid of being somewhat repetitive or having every single post have a strong call to action. If you're thinking of your news feed as the end all be all, you will be tempted to skip the call to action and maybe 1 out of 4 posts. Don't do it. Every single post should have a call to action. That's my opinion. That's my strategy. So let's jump into this. Now that we know why it's important, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to include a call to action in every single one of your posts that is asking for just the right thing at just the right time in just the right way. And it's not going to be repetitive because we've built random access into this where it can randomly reach in and kind of spin your calls to action. So it's asking the same thing potentially, but in a different way. So I'm going to show you how to create a call to action group, and then we're going to go into where you can deploy these. Real quick, I'm just going to tell you, you can deploy them in the publisher here. You can deploy them in the import functions here, both CSV and image import. And this is the most exciting part. You can actually deploy these in RSS feeds. So we'll go into how to do that in just a minute. But first, let's talk about how to create a call to action group and how it works. So if you're typing a message, let's see here, check out our latest menu. What you can do is very quickly add a call to action group. We have already populated your account as of this morning with 4 different call to action groups. And the groups are all about engagement. The 2 main areas of calls to action are going to be asking people to engage with you, which will increase your edge rank, which will kind of get you into more feeds and increase your reach. And the other big one, which is to me more important, is clicks through to your owned assets, like your website, your blog. Nothing is more powerful than that. So I want you guys to make that the default, but we'll jump into how to create that in a second. Obviously, we didn't create that automatically for you because we don't necessarily know your URL. If you're an Agency Pro subscriber, we're adding that to the intake form that your buyers fill out, and we are automatically creating a call to action group called Visit Our Website. So that's going to be happening very shortly. That way, when your automated posts start going out, the posting assistant, it's automatically going to add call to action links to your client's website. But for now, all we've populated is these 4, and I'll show you how to create another one in just a minute. So basically, these groups are like categories of calls to action. So if we want somebody to like this particular post, then we would click on this. We can also edit it by clicking the little icon here. If we want somebody to share this post, then we would choose this. If we want them to comment, you can see how that works. So let's jump into the like one, and I'll show you how it looks. So we've pre-populated all of these different types of calls to action, which are specifically designed for each social network. So you're not going to be asking people to do the wrong thing in the wrong network, because it just doesn't work. Like, for example, you wouldn't want to ask somebody to click in an Instagram post. You'd want them to check out your link in the bio. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. But we've pre-populated this, and the way it works is each line, each row here is going to be a new call to action for Facebook. So if you want to add a new one, you would just, hit this and just say, like this post with an exclamation point. And now you've just saved this. If there are any you don't like, you can delete it, save it, and you're done. At the top, you could see what it's called. I recommend like for this one, but you can change that. Bold the call to action. This is so powerful. We default to having this checked because we think it's really important that you use a bold typeface for all of your calls to action. They will be inserted at the end of the post, but you will have this bold call to action, so you don't need to worry about taking that additional step. You can also add your calls to action to the first comment of Facebook and the first comment of Instagram. So if we click this, you'll see what happens. And I'm going to click save. So now, since this is the default one, every account will have a default. We automatically default to having like our post as the default. So the quickest way to add this, once you've done typing out like the meat of your message, is to double click. If you double click, it's automatically going to add your default. So now we have quick tap the heart for TikTok, which is appropriate for that network. Pinterest is going to say love it. Double tap. Obviously, double tapping a Facebook post in an app isn't going to work. So we've done what would only work in a Pinterest mobile experience. And for LinkedIn, as you can see, we basically are reaching into that list of possible calls to action, and we are randomly grabbing one. That way, if we keep using the like call to action, it will still not look redundant. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this page, and let's actually create one. Let's say we're McDonald's, okay? So I'm going to go in and create a call to action group, and let's just call this menu. So I'm going to make this the default. I want to bold it, of course. And just to keep things simple, I'm going to say order now, and then I'm going to say www.mcdonalds.com. So I'm going to copy this. Let's leave link in bio for Instagram and TikTok because they don't allow links. So I'm going to leave these defaults here and just paste the same thing just to shorten this. You would want to create something a little clever for each of the networks that is based on the language used within those networks. And I'm going to click save. It's as simple as that. Now I can say, let's say I'm sending this out at noon. Time for lunch, ? And all I'm going to do is double tap CTA. And the TikTok post is going to have link in bio. My Pinterest post is going to say order now, mcdonalds.com. It's automatically going to attach the link. If there's a link anywhere in your call to action in any one of the networks, it's going to automatically detect that, shorten it for all the networks. It's going to attach that link, so you make sure to have a link attachment. For Facebook, it's going to add it to the first comment if you selected that. And for LinkedIn, it's going to include that in the message. And let's scroll down here to show you how for Instagram, notice it says link in bio because they don't really allow links. And it totally blows my mind. I absolutely love it. It's adding it to the first comment, which is really a great strategy to do for Instagram. So basically, it's time to post. Like, you're ready to post. If you want to add your hashtag group, you can do that here. So I'm going to add my main hashtag group. It's automatically going to add that hashtag group after the call to action. So you will always end up with hashtags, just like you were supposed to do. And everything's ready to go. You're able to post super, super quick. I'm going to move on to the import feature. So when you're importing from a CSV file, you have a new option in your CSV. That is now the 15th column, and it's called CTA group. We've already added that to the download example. If you leave it empty, it's just going to ignore it, and it won't add the specific call to action group, obviously. But if you add this to your existing CSV files, you'll be able to use this. You can actually enter the name of the call to action group, and it will invoke that call to action group for that particular post. So if you have a post that is, kind of a good feel kind of a post, you might ask people to follow because you've kind of given them some good vibes. Use the follow post by entering the word follow in your CTA group column. But if you have something that you might want people to go to your website to check out, you can do a couple things. You can either say default, if that's your default one, and it will select that default call to action group. And there's one other thing you can do. We added an add a call to action if unspecified column. So let's say your default is to just have people go to your menu if you're McDonald's. You can check this, and what will happen is if you type in the word follow in any of the rows, if you type in the word like, basically the name of any of your call to action groups, it will override this default and put that in there. So once you've actually, populated all of that, imported your CSV, you can simply add to queue, and it's going to import it and add those calls to action. Jumping over to images, I love this strategy. Let's say you have a bunch of really cool memes you put together that already has text in it, so you don't really need to add a lot to it, but you do want to couple that with a call to action. Now you don't need to have this awkward call to action built into your meme images. All you need to do is select a call to action group. Default is menu, so it's automatically going to select the menu, and you can upload your meme that might talk about, feeling hungry if you're McDonald's, and you might have a picture of your food. And if you upload a collection of these, like let's say they have 100 different memes that talk about like feeling hungry, they could literally upload 100 of these images and then just select the menu call to action, and it will generate 100 social media posts with those images and add random calls to action so it's not super redundant, and it will add it to their queue schedule. So they could book out an entire month just by dragging over a bunch of images into the add image area. Super, super powerful. Let's jump into the RSS feeds. So RSS feeds are just the greatest way to automate, ongoing content. And using other people's RSS feeds is even better, because now you're taking thought leadership information from an industry expert and you're using that to generate business for yourself. So let's say, McDonald's has, a really great feed of, nutrition tips and nutrition facts. So if they have that social media feed, they can actually jump into that feed now and add a call to action to go check out their menu. So adding this call to action is a really powerful way to put their posts in your feed and add your specific call to action. And once that's done, you can just click save. And from now on, all of the posts that are generated from that RSS feed are going to include this powerful, bold call to action. So I'm really looking forward to hearing feedback on this one, because if you've been in marketing for any amount of time, you know how important a call to action is. It's the most important part of any direct mail piece, any social post, any kind of email that you're sending out, any landing page you're building. The call to action is the most important thing. And now you guys have this powerful tool to nail your calls to action in every post. There's no more excuses. Every post should have a call to action. Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us in live chat or comment on this post. Really appreciate your time.